And we are live. Please let me know if you can hear me so that we can proceed. You know how we do. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay. I think someone has joined. Please let me know if you can hear me so I can proceed. I think someone has joined. Thank you. So, welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys, to our third class, right? I'm sure by now we're already coming to a close, if not already finished most of our courses. Because, like I said, this first week or this first month is the learning stage. The month two is going to be for putting the things you've learned into practice. So that's why we have these live classes so that you ask your questions, you do your projects, you do your assignments, and you're ready to move on to the next stage. Bear in mind that people that don't attend accountability meetings, people that don't do assignments, people that don't do projects, they will not be allowed to move to the next. I think this is one a point that we need to raise. You can tell your fellow students as well so that they can have that in mind. All right, so I'm going to quickly pull up my slides so that we can proceed with today's class. So last week we talked about a very wonderful class. We talked about tools like time management tools and whatnot. And when we had the accountability call, I was very, very impressed with the feedback, especially from Chigozie and Christiana. They gave us very detailed and very insightful talks on what the things that we were able to discuss. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get my slides up. Give me 1 second. Right. All right, I am back. I think I'm having some internet ups and downs, but my sheets are taking longer than I expected to load. I don't know why. I apologize for that. It's just saying it's uploading, but it hasn't uploaded yet, so I guess we'll have to give it a bit. So while I'm still waiting for my slides to upload, I was talking about assignments and the projects as well as accountability calls for people who do not attend. And we were saying that you will not move on to the next stage of this boot camp if you do not complete all these things. Just like in your courses, you can move on to the next session without finishing your questions and all that is the same thing that applies here. So please talk to your colleagues. If they do not have everything complete, we're sorry, we cannot let them move on with us, right? So today we're going to be talking about client management. I know we talked a bit about it last week. Christiane had mentioned something about feedback, constructive and destructive criticism. And so today we're going to be talking about clients generally because these are the people that you have paid for this boot camp for. They're the people you're learning all these skills and all these tools for, right? They're the ones you're going to be working for. So it's important that you know how to manage human beings correctly, especially when they're your clients, right? So, so basically today we're going to be understanding the fundamentals of professional communication through emails, through phone calls, through video calls as well. And the goal is to help you, virtual assistants, to master communication tools and also learn how to build solid relationships with clients. Because whether it's a one off job, whether it's a contract, you need to know how to have good relationships with everybody that you work with or for, right? So, someone told me that I talk quite fast. So, I'm going to try to talk slower, right? But if there's anything I say that you don't get, you can always ask questions. All right, so communication management is the first thing that we're going to be talking about. And communication is basically a conversation between two people that understand each other. Right? And so we're going to talk about the different kinds of communication. So the first one we have is the email communication. So emails are they are the middle ground. They are the heart of business communications because it is both professional and formal. So it's what like professionals use to receive and send formal messages that you might need later or you might need to refer to, you need to forward, and you need to save. And it's also easy because it's not like your WhatsApp that you can delete or you can lose, right? Your email is always there. So email communication is a very important skill that everybody that's a virtual assistant needs to have. Excuse me, just got a text. Okay. So the structure of a clear email. Structure of a clear email. Number one is subject line. Always make sure you send a subject line when you are sending out emails, right? Because you cannot even send out an email as a professional and there's no subject. Your subject should be clear, your subject should be concise, so it should be straight to the point, and it should be clear in the sense that whoever reads it understands what it is. So if you're sending a project title, you can subject it next steps for our project, right? Then you can say, or you can, if you're following up on a client, you say follow up on our meeting. And that way, when they see the subject, they can assume or they can, try to figure out what is in the email. Now, your subject line has to be clear. You also have to add greetings, right? We tell professionals you just add dear and the name or the position of the person. You don't just send an email. So you just, maybe you're sending an email and then you title the email um sheets. Maybe person your boss said they wanted you to clean a sheet for them, and then you send an email and then your subject is just sheets, and then the email body is just the link, and you send. That is grossly unprofessional. The subject line should be the sheets or the clean sheets or updated sheets. And then the body should be dear sir or dear ma'am. If you're working with white people that don't really like you calling them sir or ma'am, you can just put the person's name. And then you say, oh, I've been able to clean the sheets. Please go through it. Let me know if you have any corrections or reservations. Thank you. That's it. So you should try to greet, try to be polite, and also try to you make the body of the message should be straight to the point. Okay, so it's also good for you to give spaces so that it's easy for them to read and digest what you're sending, so you don't have everything just like stockpiled. So it's good to like space when you're sending like a long email. And finally you close. So always close. Usually you say sincerely, you say warm regards, you say best regards, you say whatever you want to say, but make sure you close. Don't just send a message and leave like that. And then sign off. Sign off is giving your information, but then that might not be necessary if it's someone you're always emailing. That might be your boss or your colleagues, so you might not need to like add your signage every time. But typically, when you're sending an email to a new person, you try to put your contact details, like your full name, your title, your contact information, in case they need clarity for that email you sent, or they could just reply the email that you sent. But some people don't have that time. They just want to tap on the phone number and call immediately. That's why it's important that you have all that information when sending out an email, right? So I already gave an example of what a good email should look like. So moving on to the next kind of communication, which is phone communication. So phone communication provides a more personal and immediate way to engage with your clients, right? It is essential for building rapport and also to have a relationship with your clients. So you can just call them up. Hello, ma'am. I was wondering if you needed help with something, or I got feedback on something, or I got, but whatever platform or channel through which you're talking to a client, you just have to bear in mind that number one, you're being polite. Number two, you're being clear. And number three, you're being professional. Those are the three important points. Your tone of voice is also important over the phone because um, human beings, when they hear your voice, they expect your mood to be interpreted in your voice. Doesn't always work like that, right? But not everybody understands that. You can have a monotone voice, you can have a sad voice, but you're really a very cheerful person. And you can be a smiling and happy person and you're actually not very happy, right? So as much as it doesn't really work, or it's not really a yardstick, it's also important that you try to sound polite, try to sound friendly as much as you can, right? And active listening is also very important. That's why I advise, if you're on calls with clients, you have a note so you can like jot down what they're saying, and they don't have to remind you later, or you don't have to go back and ask them to re-say or repeat what they had said before. So it's important you have notes so you can actively listen, take notes, and respond accordingly, right? So yeah, I think that's about it for phone point or phone communication. You're polite, you're friendly, you pay attention to what the clients are saying, you make sure your communication is also very clear. You're not just beating about the bush. You go straight to the point while you're calling them, because you know that for you to be working as their assistants, it means they are busy professionals and you really don't want to take their time on unnecessary conversations. So, an example Yeah, you can say, "Good afternoon. My name is Christiana. I had reached out to you. You had reached out to me last week, or I had reached out to you last week. I said we're going to have a conversation about me managing your administrative tasks. I'm just following up because I sent an email last week, and I want to know if you're ready to discuss the next steps." So you're very straight to the point, right? So even the person is not going to want to have business about the bush. The person you've told the person why you're calling, and the person will not give you the appropriate answer. It's also important for you to note that when you're reaching out to a new person, is you have to send an email or a text beforehand. So the email can be to introduce yourself, and then you say, "Oh, I'm going to call in 3 days or in 1 week, just to check in to be sure you saw my email and to know if you'd like to know the next steps." Right? So you don't just call people out of the blue. I think that's a point that we need to know. Then, thirdly, video call communication. So, video calls are basically face to face interaction as opposed to over the phone or audio calls. And even when participants are in different, especially when you're working as a team, they are used especially as meetings, but we call them virtual meetings because they're not in person, they're online, right? So the key points or for handling a virtual meeting, let's say you're asked to create a virtual meeting. I'm sure you guys already know how to create meetings on Google Meet if you're using Google Workspace or you're using Zoom or whatnot. But you need to make sure you know your technology well. Knowing your technology well is number one, you set up the meeting and you're sure it's the correct meeting. Number two, you send the link of the meeting. Number three, you test your equipment. That's your camera, your microphone, your internet ahead of time. So if you set a meeting up for 10 a.m., at least by 9:50, you should be settled down. You should be verified that your mic is working. You should verify that your internet is good. Verify that your camera is working, right? Number two point about video calls is dressing. You need to learn how to dress appropriately. I know we see a lot of movies where people wear like suits and shirts up and then they wear like boxers down. It happens. It's legit. Nobody's going to ask you to stand up. But you see, from your waist up, it's really, really important that you are well dressed. But please don't be walking around your house naked. But, you don't have to be fully dressed like you're going to the office. But at the same time, you have to try to dress appropriately, right? Thirdly, is your body language. You need to sit up straight. You need to make eye contact in the camera. If you're talking to a client, you're talking to a staff, you're talking to a colleague in a team meeting, you need to learn how to speak with your face to the camera. You can't be in a meeting and you're doing something else, or you're probably playing video games or on your phone, you're not making eye contact. That's rude, right? So you need to sit up straight. In fact, smile too. People don't tell you this, but if you smile, the more you smile, the less under pressure you feel, right? So smile is also a very good tip. And then finally, like we said in the other ones, is clear communication. You speak slowly, you speak clearly, especially if there's like a background noise or a connection issue. You ask them, "Can you hear me? Do you understand? Do you want me to repeat myself?" Just make sure that everybody in the meeting is on the same page, right? So, yeah, so that's about it. So, before the meeting, you test your audio and your video settings, ensure your background is tidy. If you're using a virtual background, you set it up. If you're in a meeting, you try to mute your notifications, uh, and try to be clear and speak very straight, right? Don't be speaking a lot of jumble to confuse people. All right. So I think that's about it for email, phone, and text and video calls, right? Which are uh, the three main communication channels. Excuse me. All right. So moving on, we'll talk about building client relationship. Communication is important because it helps you build a good client relationship. It helps you with trust, with rapport. In fact, the more often you're on the phone with somebody, the more often they see you on a video call, you guys are becoming more, more acclimatized to each other, warm to each other. You get to know each other better, right? And this helps to foster a long-lasting working relationship. So let me give you a real life example. A virtual assistant who promptly replies to emails, schedules video calls effectively, manages or maintains an open channel of communication. That virtual assistant builds trust with the client over time because the client feels respected, they feel valued, they feel like you're taking their work, like you take their work seriously, right? Even if you have other clients. And that way, it encourages them to stay longer with you as an assistant. All right, so moving on to the next here, we have professional etiquette, using the right tone, making sure you're formal and professional. Your communication style should be professional, maintain professionalism at all times. Clear communication ensures that the clients are always in the loop. They know what you're doing, they know what point you stopped, they know what point you continue the next day. You should try to give them timely reports, timely updates, and try to clarify any changes, try to clarify any issues with timelines that you cannot meet up or deadlines that you cannot meet up with. Try to let them know beforehand. You don't just maybe ghost them. You stop picking calls, or you're like, I don't know what to tell this woman, so I'm not going to take her calls. That's crazy, right? So you need to manage their expectations and try to avoid misunderstanding and avoid disappointment as much as possible. Because the more you disappoint the person that you're helping, the less they believe in you, and we don't want that, right? So I'm going to drop your tags in the group as usual for this, where we'll move on to the next thing, that is task and project management. All right, so I dropped the tasks in the group. Let's try and get those done and send them in as soon as possible. All right, so moving on to task and project softwares. Basically, what we need to do today is learn how to properly use popular project management tools like Trello, Asana, and Monday.com. And these tools are very essential for organizing tasks, collaborating with your colleagues, collaborating with your clients, and tracking your project progress. And if you have these automated and covered, it's going to save you a lot of time and headache, right? So first of all, talk about Trello. I think we should have put up a picture like on the slides of Trello, what it looks like, but it's all good. So Trello, Asana, and Monday.com. I'm just going to talk to you guys briefly about it. Remember, like I say, try to play around with these apps, try to play around with these tools. That's the only way you can get better at using them, right? So Trello is a visual project management tool where tasks are organized using boards and lists and also cards. So it's great for, it's like having a board in a physical office where people go and pin sticky notes of things they have to do. But this is like the virtual type, right? So it's great to manage both personal and team projects. So I'll tell you what to use each of these for, because I know when I say board list, that you might be confused. So the boards are used to organize your projects. So if you have a maybe a campaign, a soap campaign project, you have a hire new staff project, you have an event project. These are different projects that you put on the board. Now, under each board, you have what we call lists. Now, the list breaks your project down into phases. The phases, we have three phases. We have the to do, which are things that you haven't started yet. We have progress, which are things that you've started but you've not finished. And we have done, which are things you've already done. So when you have a project, you have a list of things you need to do in the project, and then you now tag them, tag which one you've done, tag which one you're still doing, and tag which one you're not started yet. Wildcards are to track individual tasks or attach files, attach checklists and dates and all those other informations. They are put on cards. Okay. So for example, you have a Trello board that's called client onboarding. And in the Trello board, you have lists. The first list is pre-onboarding tasks. The second one is onboarding in progress, and third one is complete tasks, right? And then you can now break them down into within each list. So please go on the internet, go on Google search engine, look for Trello, download the app on your PC or on your phone, and try to start moving around or working around with it, right? So that you can add to your CV that you can use Trello and Asana without telling lies. And so when they give it to you, you're not overwhelmed or you're not start thinking of what to do. Secondly, we have Asana. Asana is also a project management tool, and but then it's like it helps teams. It helps teams to plan, track, and manage their work. So you don't really need to use both of them. You can just use one of each or one of the either. Just check them out, see the ones that work better for you, right? So the key features is to create tasks. So you have create tasks and assign them to different people. So let's say on a team, we have content creator, we have graphics designer, we have web designer, right? And then you're given a task to tell the graphic designer to make designs for Monday. So you go on Asana, you write the task down, design for Monday, and you assign it to the graphics designer, right? And then it also tracks the due dates and deadlines to make sure that everybody is keeping their timeline. And finally, just like Trello, it helps you to manage your progress and generate reports. So Asana is mostly if you're working with like a large team of people and you need to assign different tasks to different people. So in Asana also, as a virtual assistant, you can use Asana to organize tasks for a client project, assign his team members, set deadlines for his team members, and all that. And thirdly, Monday.com. Monday.com is a very, very versatile work operating system that helps manage projects, workflows, and teams, right? So you can create boards just like in Trello to match a project style. You track the time that was spent on each task so that you can manage the productivity of yourself and other people. And you can also share your boards and collaborate with clients so they can see your work in real time and make corrections and whatnot. So you can set up Monday.com where tasks are visually represented and everyone on your team can update their own projects, right? So like I said, it's also a project management tool that you need for a larger team. One person starting off, they should probably use Trello. So yeah, that's it for the three of that. I will also drop the tags for that in the group so that you can practice and let me know how that goes for you. Okay. Next on our slides, we have calendar and scheduling mastery. To be very honest, I feel Sharon should be taking this class because she has more experience in this, but I didn't ask her to. So calendar and scheduling mastery. This is something that Sharon really helps me with, and because she's my VA, and the objectives for calendar and scheduling is to explore advanced scheduling techniques, and this helps you handle complex calendar arrangements and manage multiple time zones. So if you're working for clients that are from like several parts of the world, you need to know how to properly manage your calendar and have a scheduling mastery, right? So, calendar management is basically the process of scheduling appointments, organizing the calendar, meetings, tasks, all of that in a calendar tool, right? So, excuse me. Organizing appointments, you can use color coding. You can set reminders for important appointments. Then for recurring meetings, maybe every Tuesday you have a meeting on the same time. You can set up recurring meetings for like months. If you have webinars on the same day every month, same thing. Then time zone coordination, it's important that you are mindful to the time or the time zones of international clients. So you cannot, you know that the time now is 3:32 p.m. in Nigeria, but I think in the US, because they're 6 hours behind us, they're probably just starting their day. You get. So when you're setting up meetings, you don't want to set meetings up when you know your client is still be in bed like 11 p.m. just because it's convenient for you. If anything, you're the one that's supposed to be inconveniencing yourself for your clients. And that's why some VAs, I know a lady that works for a US firm, so she sleeps in the night, works during the day. So that's how it goes because you need to make yourself available in their own work time. So time zone management, like what I talked about, is organizing meetings and deadlines according to the different time zones that your clients are in, right? So you need a global calendar for this. So you need like Google Calendar. These ones they automatically adjust time zones. Like I said, you also have to respect the client time, respect their preferences. So they might need you to be flexible in the sense that they can have a meeting with you to 1 p.m. today and tomorrow it'll be 5 p.m. depending on their time, right? So it can always be fixed. So when you're scheduling a meeting for a client in India, make sure that you set it to their own time zone and you double check that everybody has the correct time marked so that maybe me in Nigeria, I will join you say 3 p.m. 3 p.m. for me in Nigeria is not the same. It's not 3 p.m. for someone in India. So you will not have two people joining two different joining the meeting, the same meeting at two different times. And that's not effective. So that is that for scheduling mails. Please, like I said, if you want a detailed class on these things, you should probably talk to um, Mrs. Sharon. Yes. Drop your third tax on the group. And then we're going to move on to calendar management. Okay, we talked about this already. Client onboarding process. Now, you know what onboarding means? Onboarding means trying to get somebody to join your team or get somebody inculcated or integrated in your team or your work, right? So client onboarding is, excuse me. So client, one moment, please. I really apologize for the break in transmission. I am I'm working on like my last battery here. All right, so client onboarding process is basically introducing a new client to your services, how you work, and setting clear expectations for the relationship. So you ask them, what do you want me to do? And you tell them what you can deliver. So the key things you need to do when you're trying to onboard a new client, whether you meet them on Upwork or on Fiverr or anywhere at all, is that you have to, number one, set clear expectations. So communicate deadlines, communicate timelines, communicate deliverables, communicate goals. Anything that you know you cannot do, you have to say it there and then that, okay, I can't really do this. Or I'm not really fast with this. Because trust me, if they say, oh, can you write a legal document? You say, yes, 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 I can. Can you do this one? Yes, 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 I can. And then when it's time to deliver, you're underperforming because you actually can't, right? So it's always better to say, I don't really have experience, but I'm willing to learn. If they know that you're learning, their expectation of you will not be as high, right? So the onboarding is the time for you to be very open, very straightforward. Then you also need to have legal or paper trail. Paper trail is basically document signing, payment processing, storing documents, where the documents be stored, log into my email, log into your email. You just all these are information that you have to give and receive during the onboarding, right? So, for example, you send a welcome email, and after the client signs on, you have like the next steps or tools that they need to get started. Don't worry, next month you guys to build your portfolios, and then when you build your portfolios, we'll now show you how to create like a workflow where clients can click and then it automatically leads them to you. So I think that's about that. Onboarding is not really something that it's a lot of theory. It's more practical, and we're going to get into that next month. So yeah. So I think that's about it for the for our class today. Like I start with the practical parts. You have to create an onboarding checklist. You have to create a contract. You create a payment automated a payment automation landing page. You have to create a questionnaire too for your clients or your would be clients, right? And then you also have to recommend tools that they can download so that working with you will be easier. So you can tell them you have to download Canva because I send my Canva designs and links so you can have access to edit them, right? And download them so that or you can say you have to download this app so that the videos and pictures have high quality. Download this app. So just or you can tell them to download Trello, download Asana, any tool you know that will help you collaborate with them better. You have to put them on it, right? So, yeah, I think that's about it for today's class. We spent exactly 40 minutes or maybe less because I don't know. If there's any questions, you know what to do. You know how we do it. At this point, I don't even know how to. I don't even have to talk too much. So, thank you very much, my dear. I'm really trying. I've been down, like really down. I'm supposed to have another class now, but I don't think I can do it. So, Miss Sharon, I don't know how we're going to move the next class. I don't think I am physically fit to handle it. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining. I'll see you guys later. I think probably on Friday in our accountability call, because this is the only class for the week. Please, please, and please take your notes seriously, take your sheets seriously, take your assignments and your projects seriously. I am not joking about you not moving on to the next step with the other people if you don't have these things done and updated, right? So I will call it a day here. Thank you again for joining and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.